I think the environment helps our focus because this is an environment that really is only about basketball. There's not a lot else for anybody to do, so there's less distractions, less noise, and so managing the two together is probably easier than an ordinary situation because it's all basketball.
Thank you.
Allie, we can take our question from there.
Great. Tim, go ahead.
Frank, you've seen playoff LeBron from the other end of the court before, and I know the intensity really doesn't change much for him from preseason game 1 to finals game 7, but how much are you looking forward to seeing what it's really like to have a guy who's that locked in at this time of year in your home?
If you could answer the camera.
Yes, the camera. Yes, well, it's going to be really enhanced. Obviously it's been great having LeBron on our side, after years of going against him. But in particular, when we get to the playoff environment, I've just seen how he is this year with some of the bigger regular season games, how he's just more mentally locked in, more vocal, more making sure everybody else is locked in. And, I anticipate that come playoff time, we'll see that all be done at an enhanced level, and looking forward to being a part of it.
Hey, Frank, we told to project. How much of your day, you guys scrimmage coming up I believe on Wednesday, right? Or Thursday?
Thursday.
How much of your day is sort of normal game, day-to-day planning, basketball stuff, and are you ever kind of consumed by just how weird this is that we're in this environment and we're doing these things out here in Orlando?
Yeah, it is. You do have your mind on the fact that it's very different. The biggest thing that's different for me right now is you don't go home to your family. You go to your hotel room and look at a screen to be with your family. And then the practice times have really been all over the place. From 6 p.m. at night to now 9 a.m. in the morning, and it's different every day, and you don't have control over it. So we just had to we've had to sort of tinker with what we do based on those practice times. But other than that, you do your work. You go to practice, you get done practice, you meet with your staff a little bit, you watch the film of practice, evaluate, make notes, and see what you got to work on the next day. So it's not too different, from what you're looking at in the regular season.
As a follow-up, is it easy to kind of get these guys to kind of get along with, hey, well, we know practice is late, or we know practice is early, but we got to go? Have guys adapted to that in your estimation?
Yeah, I think they have, and I just want to credit our sports performance team and our assistant coaches for really just helping. I feel really good about the pace with which we've tried to restart with our group, and the amount of load that they're getting each practice, I think has been done at a pretty intelligent level, and hopefully we can continue with that.
Hey, Frank, it's Bill Lauren.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, this team has been through so much this year, and it's coming up on about 6 months since Kobe Bryant passed. I'm just wondering, and obviously the 6 months since then have been additionally tumultuous. I'm wondering, when you look back on that experience that your team, went through and playing those games initially afterward, what is kind of the lasting impact of having been through that as a team on this group now? And then how does, kind of the idea of, I think at the time you said you wanted to, respect his legacy with the way you guys played and approached the game. Like, how does that still fit into what you guys are trying to do in the resume season?
Well, he's still with us, and anytime a group like ours goes through something so emotionally deep, I just think it forms bonds, and strengthens our group. You never want something like that to happen, but I do think that's the effect of something like that, and we always, even prior to this happening, want to embody what he stood for, and even more so now with what happened, we want to honor his memory, and I think there's going to be a daily mindset of honoring the work and having that toughness about us. But I think when we get into the playoffs, there'll be opportunities and situations where we'll refresh our mindset of the things that he stood for, and what his approach was from a competitive spirit standpoint, come playoff time that I think will help us in our mission this year.
Hey Frank, Mike Trudell here. How are you?
What's up, Mike?
Hey Frank, we don't think about Kuz maybe immediately with Bradley and Rondo being out, but I wondered A, how he looks, and B, if he could take on specifically more of the role or just expand what he's done in the regular season with those bodies out.
Yeah, I'm hopeful, and Kuz has been one of our best players. It's since his restart in these practices, he's had a couple of stretches where he just dominated the floor, and it's been really encouraging to see. He had some inconsistency with the beginning of our season because he dealt with 3 different injuries, that really prohibited him from getting his legs under him. The shot making wasn't always there, but it's been there at a very high level during this restart, and we're very encouraged and excited about what having sort of a real training camp or a healthy training camp could mean for him. Like I said, hopefully that leads to an increased role, and gives us that boost that we're looking for.
Last 2 questions, Dave.
Hey Frank, it's Dave. Dwight made some pretty dismissive comments about the coronavirus on his Instagram last night, I believe, and I'm just curious if him being away from the team and not coming back to LA before joining you guys in Orlando, was he a part of the educational kind of mandated programs that the NBA made the teams present to their players, and does he have all the information available to him that you guys have?
He does, and he was part of those programs over Zoom, and everybody has to make personal choices with this. I mean, worldwide, everybody's making personal choices. For us, we want to make sure we follow the NBA protocols that they've laid out for us to help us remain as safe as possible. There's no 100% risk-free environment, including inside the bubble, and we just want to be as diligent as we can, with following those protocols.
Joe Varden?
Do you know yet what you're going to do with Avery's spot in terms of replacing him with one guy, and how, what do you need to see if you're not there yet in terms of how you want to deal with that?
Well, I'm pretty sure that KCP will start. Obviously we're going to reserve on making final decisions till we get closer to real games. But he was so good for us during that stretch where Avery was out earlier in the year. But a lot of guys are making cases for extended roles. In particular Alex Caruso, Quinn Cook, but Deion and JR have come in and showed what they can do as well. I mean, those guys are really good players. And they compete on the defensive end. They can play with or without the basketball offensively. All 4 of those guys, and we have a lot of options. We're going to miss those guys are huge losses, Avery and Rondo. But we got a lot of weapons and a lot of ways we can go with it.